Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my January 2018 TBR. Now, in the past, I have done TBRs, and they have been outrageously huge, and I should know that by now that I do not read that many books a month. I usually read between 4 to 7 books a month is kind of about average for me. That's just how much I read, and I should know that. So I should keep my TBRs to below that because I know I'm not going to get to anything beyond it. So what I've done is I've split my TBR into 2 parts. So the first part is all the books I'm currently reading with books that I know I'm going to read or I plan to read this month. So that's this is the TBR, that's the core. This is what I think is going to be the core. And then the other books, which is like 5 books on the outside of that, are the books that if I finish everything on my TBR, or I decide I don't want to read something on my TBR, these are the ones I'm probably going to grab next. So these are like the backups, the ones on the sidelines that are just waiting to be next. So they're either going to be on my February TBR or they're going to get pulled in January. So we'll see. So options. I need options. And as I said, this year I'm going to try to read more from my shelves. So this is a big deal to start off with. All these books are stuff that I own, which is great. So the first book I'm reading is not the book that I'm going to show you because the book I'm reading is on my Kindle, and it is The Last Wish, and it's the Witcher series. So this is the guy's name. Sorry, I can't say that. I've never actually heard it said out loud either, I don't think. So this is technically the second book in the series, the second novel. My brother's going to borrow this from me, so that's why it's sitting out, and he's going to let me borrow book number 1. So we're switching because he just finished. Anyway, so I'm reading the novellas that are the first in the book, The Last Witch, and I'm The Last Wish. And again, this follows the Witcher, who is kind of like he does magic and is very out to kill monsters with all his weaponry and stuff. It's pretty cool. I've liked it so far. I read about 60 pages of The Last Wish so far. I'm doing the read along with Elliot Brooks and her. She set it up for the year to do a read along on The Witcher. So check out her channel if you want to join in. I'm gonna try for a while, at least see if I can keep on pace, but I'm really at least going to start, and I'm liking The Last Wish so far, and I'm hoping that's going to be the first book of the year that I complete. Then I would like to go back and finish Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. This is the book that I started in December, but I was too sick to really concentrate on it. So I would like to start it again, or I don't think I need to reread the beginning, but I might need to read at least the last chapter or 2 because I don't actually remember where I was at. So we'll see, but I might just start over. I was only 60 pages in. But this is one of my 5-star predictions because this is kind of a Three Musketeer-esque kind of fantasy where there's 3 guys that are the main characters who are called Greatcoats, and they're reviled by everybody because of something that happened a few years ago, and they are on the run from when they were framed for a murder. So I kind of want to see what happens. There's 4 books in this series that are already out, so I can actually go book to book, but we're gonna read the first book and see what happens. So I'm hoping to get back to that, because again, it is one of my 5-star predictions. The last one I have to do is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty. I've been really looking forward to reading this. I have the audiobook, the ebook, and the physical copy of this. So I really should read this book. So I'm going to listen to this in my car on the audiobook so that I can try to get through it. I started it in December, just like for a day or 2, and I did enjoy the writing. I was so tired of audiobooks at that point that I needed a break, so I'm hoping that starting tomorrow I can start listening to audiobooks again. So this one is an Eastern inspired fantasy, and I think it's called Silk Punk or something like that. I wish someone would correct me. I think that's what it's called. I think he came up with that term, and so far I know it's like 2 young men who are both going to do something to try to change the empire. That's about all I know about that. But I hear it's really good. As I said, a lot of the big, a lot of the other booktubers who do fantasy have read this and love it, so I am really looking forward to that one. So those are the books I've currently started and or really want to read this month. And then I have 2 books that I are also from something on BookTube that or on Goodreads that are they're book club books. So the first one is Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. It's a bake shop mystery. It's like a little cozy mystery because the cozy mystery book club just started up by the Courtagonist, and this is their first book, and it's one of her favorite series. So it has to do with a woman who's come back from traveling, working on a cruise ship, and she comes back to work in her family's bakery, and of course there's a murder and little small town life in Ashland, Oregon. So I think that's gonna be neat because again, I know Ashland. I've been there several times, and it has to also do with the Oregon Shakespearean Festival, which takes place there every year, which is huge. So this will be fun, I think. And I'm sure it's going to be a quick read. And I said, I haven't read a lot of cozy mysteries recently, so it's kind of cool to kind of dip back into that genre because I just have not read a lot of those mysteries. And then Mel's Bookland Adventures has the Read Around the World book club. And I have failed pretty much on trying to read books. Usually during that month, I have a couple that, like one, I DNF'd, I did not like it. Then the next one I could not get in time, so I have not read that one yet. And then December was a children's book, so I didn't take part. But in January, it is A Golden Age by Tamima Anama? I don't know. Anam? I don't know, I'm sorry. Anyway, so this is a book about a Bangladesh woman and her kids and dealing with the time during the Bangladesh War of Independence. So in the early 70s. So it just sounds really good. And probably hard hitting, but the point is I would really like to try this. This is one I actually picked up that I want to read, and I got it early enough, so we are going to give that a shot. And then if I get to read a classic this month, and I'm trying to throw a little bit more into my reading, because I own a lot from even some stuff from college that I still own, and then I bought a lot this last year. And I want to read We by, I don't know how you say his name, sorry. But it's considered the first dystopian novel, and that 1984 and Brave New World came afterwards, and they thought were kind of like they might have read this before that. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I wanted to read it because I want to read all 3 of those and compare them. So I read Brave New World last year, and so I want to read We and 1984 this year. So I'm going to start with We because it's the older one, and we'll see how this goes. And I said it's not very long. It's like just 200 pages, but I kind of want to see what happens. I want to see what the differences are, and I want to know more about that. And I should have read that many years ago. And then another book this is a book I want to reread. So this is Jodi Taylor's Just One Damn Thing After Another. It's the first book in the Chronicles of St. Mary's. I read this 4 or 5, 6 months ago. I can't remember what month I read it in, but I really enjoyed it. Because it's like time traveling historians. It was just, there's all the feels in this, all ups and downs, and they're funny and they're so British, it's hilarious. But the point is that I read this so fast, and I know I remember a lot of it. Like I know that once I read it, I'm going to remember things. But like now I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, I don't remember how it all works and how that worked. And before I continue on with the series, I really want to reread this. And then again, I just enjoyed it so much that I want to relive it. So I've decided it's been just long enough, and I figure I'm just going to reread it. So this is my reread for the month. So those are the books that I for sure want to read. So that's my solid TBR. So these 5 books that I'm going to show you now are books that I would like to get to, in the near future. If I don't read them this month, they'll move to February. They're kind of the peripheral ones. So on the literary fiction side, which I have a lot of stuff I've bought since I joined BookTube, and I've kind of gotten back into buying literary fiction. I just haven't started reading it all that much yet. But I want to read The Tin Man by Sarah Winman. Now, this one's, I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I've heard a couple of not so good things about it, but I figured short enough, and it seemed very impactful to a lot of people about two men and that grew up together, and then a woman that they both know, and blah blah blah. You know, like, so there's some. It's a literary fiction. I don't know. So I just heard good things, and I haven't heard enough. So, but I really want to make my own decision. So I decided to take the plunge on that. So again, that's kind of on the edge if I want to pick up something like that. I do still want to read the second book of A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. This is A Gathering of Shadows. So this is a trilogy I want to finish this year. I need to read the second book. And then, and again, that's a fantasy about different Londons and men who can travel between the two worlds, you know, the different worlds. So there's a red London, black London, white London, gray London, and a lot of other stuff going on. It's a great magical one. So, and then I also want to read the first book in the Bring Down Heaven trilogy by Sam Sykes. The City Stained Red is the first book. I've had this book for forever. Not when it came out. I think I missed when it first came out, but I read his other series, and it was just so much fun. So this is fun fantasy, but it still has all the bad and good things to it. A lot of action, and it's funny. So I do want to read on to this series. Again, this is another trilogy I would like to read this year, but I need to read the first book. And then I got a little book from Mary Stewart, and this is like two short stories, The Wind Off the Small Isles and The Lost One. Now, I've never read any short stories by her, and they just published them in this little book. I probably paid way too much for this, but I love the covers. And I would love to have all the Mary Stewarts and all these pretty covers, but I just cannot justify that since I have all the books from the 60s and 70s. So I really don't need them. I have copies of them. My mom has copies of them. We both love Mary Stewart. Anyway, but I want to read the little short stories. So I'm sure I'll pick this up at some point, but it's one of those ones where I want to kind of insert maybe one day when I don't want to read anything too serious, because they're little mysteries. They're really cute. And then if this wasn't enough, one more fantasy. And this is one I've wanted to read since October, and that is Blackwing by Ed McDonald. And it's the first book in the Raven's Mark. And I really want to read this. It's one of those debut authors in this last year that I follow on Twitter that I really want to read their book, and it just sounds fantastic about this land called the Misery that nobody wants to go into, and this guy has to go into to find somebody or else. Something like that. I'm not sure. I don't want to know. I just want to go into this and read this. And so soon, really. So that is my January TBR. This is the real TBR. So this is what I think I really will accomplish. We'll see. We'll see. And then the rest of the stuff is just, hey, if you have time. Or if you decide to change your mind. So anyway, that is everything. I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, I did forget to mention that I'm supposed to get The Will to Battle by Ada Palmer from the library. And I just saw that they shipped it, so it should be coming to my location in the next couple days. So I am adding that to my TBR. I was hoping to get it in December when it came out, but it did not come out. And again, it's book 3 in the Terra Ignota series that I'm so looking forward to seeing how it goes. So I just wanted to add that in, and one more book on my TBR. Oops.